Right. Hi, everyone. Welcome again to AuthorStory. I'm Alexander Lim, your host, and for this episode, I'm interviewing Chris Palmer, author of the book Now What, Grad? Your Path to Success After College. And for those of you following along who are interested, you can go over now to the Amazon link in the description below the video and check out or get a copy of Chris' book. So, Chris, welcome to AuthorStory. It's a real honor having you with us as our guest.
Thank you so much, Alex. I'm delighted to be with you today.
Cool, fantastic. So, Chris, for starters, please tell us about yourself in the book. What's your story?
Well, I have been a professor for about 12 years, and I've noticed how much my students struggle to get jobs, to launch their careers. They often finish their 4 years with us, and they have worked hard to get grades. They partied hard.
Right.
And now suddenly they are let loose on the world, and they have no structure. Their friends have often gone to other places, and they're often very lonely, sometimes living in the basement of their parents' house. And it's a terribly stressful time. And I've written my book, Now What, Grad? To help students over this period, to help them thrive in the real world.
Right, okay. So it certainly seems that you're very familiar with the kind of things that college graduates face. Can you share with us any first-hand personal experiences to kind of highlight this?
Well, a lot of my students are struggling. I mean, they are lonely. They are not sure how to do an interview. They're not sure how to find a job. They are struggling to decide what their lives are about.
Right.
And it's incredibly stressful time.
Okay, I got that. Okay, so all right, cool. So next, about the book. I mean, I'm sure some of our listeners out there are college grads, and even if they aren't fresh college grads, I'm sure they might be interested in What Now, Grad? So can you please just tell us a little more about it? What's the book all about?
Yeah, the book covers a lot of the subjects, Alex, that professors like me don't cover in college, in university, and perhaps we should, but we don't. Things like how to help students find out who they really are, to find out what they're passionate about. I mean, so often in school, students are focused on getting a grade, learning Spanish or filmmaking or business or whatever it is they're studying, and they don't have a chance to sit back and ask themselves, where am I going? What is my life about? What do I stand for? What matters to me? And then, so the book deals with some of that. It also deals with finding a job, how to manage stress, finding mentors, time management, how to be a lifelong learner, how to give a speech, how to run a meeting, all sorts of things that are incredibly useful, as you know, Alex, incredibly useful in the real world, and which we tend to ignore at college. And suddenly students come out in the real world, and they have to people assume they have these skills, and they don't.
Right. Okay, cool. Okay, so I got that. And I'm sure that there are those who still think of they have a college degree in the same light that the previous generation did. Like once you have a degree, your life will be hunky-dory, everything will be fine, you're set. And it seems that is not the case right now. Would you say that that's always been the case, or is it just the present times, the present environment that where students are really stressed out? And
I think it's worse now for a couple of reasons, Alex. One is that is the students spend so much time looking at screens, their iPads, iPhones, laptops, and so on, that a lot of them have forgotten the basic elements of human interaction. They don't know; they're not very skilled at meeting someone who they don't know, looking him in the eye, shaking hands firmly, smiling, and entering into a relaxed enjoyable conversation. That is an alien exercise for a lot of young people nowadays, and so I think it is. I think it is tough for this new generation for a number of reasons. That's one of them. The other reason, of course, is the economy is not is it's hard in this economy to find jobs, and employers are looking for employees who have soft skills, not just are good at whatever degree they've got in business or German or whatever the subject is,
right.
They're skilled in. Well, employers also want to hire people who behave professionally, who show up on time, who have a good attitude, who are team players, who know how to collaborate with other people, who are diligent, willing to stay late to get the job done, come in early if necessary, who are creative and ethical and resilient. And all these are what we call soft skills that at college professors like me you often fail to teach them because we're so focused on whatever the degree they're doing.
Right.
But we need to help our students be better prepared for real life and to know how to be a good employee, to be super employable.
Okay, I got that. So I mean, let's talk about the case of a college student who's already in college. I mean, as you mentioned, college does not teach these subjects and these soft skills. Other than being taught, how can a college student practice these skills and get them in the first place?
Well, I think one key there, Alex, is having mentors, reaching out to people, networking. In other words, a young person nowadays, and this actually applies to any of us at any age, but
right.
particularly a person coming out of college, you want to look around and see who might be a mentor, a guide for you. You're looking for people who have more experience, who are kind, who are generous, who want to share their learning, and this requires you to network and to reach out to people. And that takes courage to pick up the phone and say, "Hi, Mr. Smith, I'm just graduated. I know I don't know you, but I've read about you on the internet. I love what you're doing at organization XYZ. May I drop by to have an informational interview with you to get some career advice? I'm just launching my career, and you've done a lot of things I would like to do. May I drop by to see you?" And you'd be amazed, as you know, Alex, how many older people are delighted to help younger people launch their careers. So younger people need to be brave, to be courageous, to make those calls, to reach out, to network, to find mentors, people who can help and guide them on these softer skills.
Right. Okay. And of course, I mean, maybe if they join some college organizations and stuff like that, will this also help them out with these particular skills?
Absolutely. And when you're at college, you want to join groups, take leadership positions if you can, because you want to be able to say on your resume and in job interviews, "Yes, I headed up the XYZ organization and we did A, B, and C." We accomplished things. You want to show you're an accomplished leader. So yes, join organizations, go to things, show up. One of the secrets in life is to show up, and again, that takes pluck, it takes grit, it takes fortitude to get off your rear end and go to things and meet people you haven't met before. It's not easy to do, especially if you've been obsessed with your screens and therefore not very accustomed to interacting with people.
Right. Just curious, Chris, how important is a leadership position in a college organization when it comes to what an employer looks at on the resume?
Well, I think it's excuse me. I think it's very important. I mean, the more you can join organizations, take leadership roles, give talks, run things, organize things. This shows you're a person who knows how to take initiative, and employers are looking for people with initiative, who will take action, who won't just be passive and wait to do what they're told, but will take initiative and say, "Well, how about this? Can we try a different way? Can we do this? Can we try this?" So I think joining organizations and and participating in them, going to events, asking questions if you're in an audience, putting your hand up, all this sort of thing. It shows you're a lifelong learner, that you're trying to do new things, which is important. That's what employers are looking for: people with initiative who are not passive.
Right. Okay, I got that. And leadership definitely shows that up. Okay. So, Chris, skills are one thing, attitude is another. What sort of attitude or mindset should new graduates, or even college students, have in order to succeed once they graduate?
Well, the main mindset is to have a growth mindset, knowing that your skills are never fixed, that you can always learn more. So you want the mindset of a lifelong learner. Every day you want to get up determined to learn more, learn new words, learn new skills, meet new people, do more things, make new offers in the marketplace. So the people who succeed in life are the people who make lots of offers and then keep those promises. So you want to be an active person, moving with alacrity, moving with energy, constantly thinking up new things to do, new actions to take, new phone calls to make, new issues to Google, new things to learn about. So lifelong learning, I think, is absolutely crucial. When you finish school, that is just the beginning of your learning, So yeah.
Okay, I got that. Cool. So, Chris, let's say there's someone who's like a fresh grad, who's starting to search for jobs, but this person doesn't know where to start. What kind of advice might you give him? What kind of thing might you tell him to start with?
Well, it's a very tough situation, and you wake up in the morning and you don't have a job and you don't know what to do. The first thing to do is to identify some organizations, both for-profit and non-profit, that you might enjoy working with. So just pick up a newspaper, see what's going on in the world. Find organizations, whether that's AARP, whether that's the Natural Resources Defense Council, whether that's the Red Cross, whether it's the EPA and the federal government, whether it's the CIA, whether it's Microsoft, Google. Just brainstorm about organizations that you might like to work for, and then Google them and see what they do. And if you still like the look of them, apply. Go to their website, see, and often these organizations will have a page on the website telling you how to apply for jobs. And so just apply. One of the things I recommend to people is just to apply. You may not get the job, you often get turned down, but just like Stephen King got hundreds of turn downs before he was a successful author, so you as a young person, you want to put your name out there again and again and again. You'll be rejected over and again, but finally you'll find a job. So apply, and then reach out to people in the way I said earlier, for informational interviews, not asking for a job interview, but saying, may I just come by and talk to you to get some career advice.
Okay, cool. Now, Chris, there are two different ways by which people can apply, right? I mean, they can either apply online, or they can really just go out there and personally present their resume. Which of these two methods would you recommend?
Both. Beggars can't be choosers. Okay. And so, Alex, young people have to do both of those. You want to go online and apply, you want to go in person and apply, you want to go to your neighbors, ask your parents who they know, ask your professors to introduce you to people. You really need to, I think the key word here is hustle. You need to hustle. Get off your rear end and pick up the phone, get on the internet, take initiative, call people, write to people, ask questions. How do I apply here? What does your company do? Do you have any openings? May I come by and talk to you about your job? I'd love to learn more about it. Just take initiative, hustle, and so both those methods you mentioned, both applying in person and applying over the internet, both are very important.
Okay, cool. I got that. So, Chris, let's move on to another stress point when it comes to fresh grads. The interview. I mean, this is sometimes dreaded, and you know, the sweaty hands, the fast heartbeat, and all that stuff. So, with regards to an interview, Chris, what makes or breaks an interview?
Well, first of all, the sweaty hands are good. You want to be tense. You want to be on your, you want to have your heart beating faster. You won't look like it. I mean, people when they're nervous don't necessarily show that.
Right.
You want to smile, sit up straight, shake hands firmly, look him in the eye, smile, tell them how delighted you are to be here, thank them for giving the interview. And even though your heart is beating fast and your palms are sweating and all that, don't worry about it. That's good. You want to be on your top performance. You want to be nervous. You want to be absolutely alert.
Right.
So that's good. Then you want to come in the room, as I say, shake hands, smile, sit down, sit up, arrive with a few questions to ask, a few good questions to ask. In other words, go there having done research on the organization, so you know what they make, what they do, what the services they offer, so you're familiar with them, with what they do, and then listen carefully. Respond as well as you can. If you don't know the answer, just be completely honest and say, I don't know the answer, but I know where to find the answer. And enjoy. Now here's the key to a good interview. Enjoy it. If you enjoy it, if you enjoy the person you're meeting, the chances are very high those feelings will be reciprocated and they will like you. And that's what interviews are all about, getting the person to like you, so they say to themselves, gosh, this is a person I would love to have in the company. They're agreeable, they seem fun, they seem relaxed, they seem hardworking, they've got the skills we need. And they will also be looking for an absence of those negatives. They don't want to hire anybody who's arrogant, who's overly loquacious, who's narcissistic, they don't want any of those things. They want people who have a great attitude, who are constructive, pleasant, can take feedback and absorb it and benefit from it, who can give and take, and sometimes take the lead in a team, and sometimes be a team member, who know how to collaborate and so on. So they're looking for good people with good characters, who are honest and straightforward and pleasant to be around, pleasant to work with.
Okay, interesting, definitely. And it's the first time that I've been told that sweaty hands are good in an interview.
yeah, they are. You want to be in top condition. You want to be nervous. If you're too relaxed, you may come across as if you're indifferent or nonchalant. Or no, you want to be sitting up straight. You want to have that energy be pouring out of you. Show that you're eager and enthusiastic. Here's one thing we haven't mentioned: enthusiasm. Oh my gosh, Alex, nothing's more important than a job interview than showing how enthusiastic you are to join them.
All right, cool, fantastic. Yeah. So, all right, great. So, Chris, some people think that, it's best to get a job immediately after graduation, or, other people would say, take some time off and do some other stuff before that. How important, or how critical is it that, graduates find a job after graduation?
Well, it's not critical. Taking time off to travel, to volunteer, to do the Peace Corps, these are wonderful things to do. Or before you go to college, take a gap year, as they call it in England and Europe. I think these are wonderful things to do. So yeah, taking time off to find yourself. I took time off to join the British Navy and help me grow up and be less immature. So I think taking time off, not to waste time, not to just sit in front of a television set and watch soap operas, that would be appalling. No, but get out in the world, go to Germany, go to Namibia, go to Japan, volunteer, teach at a school, do something, give yourself a chance to reflect on your life and think what you want to do. This could be pivotal, seminal, because instead of going to school and do what your dad did and become a lawyer or go to business school like your mother did, no, you might want to do something completely different, and you only know that after reflecting and thinking about your life. In fact, I recommend, Alex, that people write a personal mission statement, and I write about this and tell people how to do it in my book, Now What, Grad. So write a personal mission statement. Find out what you want to do with your life, what you stand for, where you're going, what matters to you, and that way will help you find a career that you will find fulfilling. One of the saddest things in the world is for people to get into their 50s and suddenly realize they have no idea what their lives are for, what their purpose is, what the meaning of life is, what life is about. That is very, very sad and can lead to depression and midlife crises. And so you want to do that work in your life early on, thinking about what your life is about, what you want to do with your life, what you're prepared to suffer for.
Right. Okay, got that. So, Chris, you mentioned something about networking. Like for a lot of people, so some people networking comes easy. But say for those who are not familiar with networking, what are the basics of networking? What is the structure behind so that people can network successfully?
The key, I think I missed part of your question, Alex, but I think I get most of it, which is about networking.
Yes.
The key is to not be afraid to reach out to people and ask for help. One of the keys to successful people, one of the characteristics of successful people is they're never afraid to ask for help. If you were to follow Warren Buffett around for a few days, you'd see him constantly saying to people, what do you think about that? Can you help me with this? Can you advise me on this? Can you draft this memo for me? What do you think about what, you find these successful people, they constantly, relentlessly ask others for help and advice and guidance. They're not know-it-alls. They don't know everything. They know how little they know, and they're constantly asking for advice and guidance. So I would say, with regard to networking, be like that. Constantly ask for help. Mrs. Smith, I'd be grateful if you could advise me on how I can do better on a job interview. Ask people for help and advice and guidance. People love to give help, and you'll find them responsive.
Okay, right, cool, got that. You also mentioned leadership being something that employers really look out for. What makes an effective leader? Someone that an employer would like to say, I want this guy on my team.
Yeah, well, people often think leadership is like General Lee in the Civil War, or Abe Lincoln during the Civil War. George Washington. These are huge personalities. But the key about leadership is it happens at all levels of society. I mean, parents are leaders, older brothers are leaders to younger brothers, and so on. So we're all leaders. All of us have roles where we are leaders, and in the role as leader, we have to show example. We have to be good role models,
right?
And so employers are looking for people like that, people who can take initiative, people who are not afraid to stand up and lean in and speak when needed. So leadership is very important, and all I mean by leadership is that you're willing to stand up, to ask questions, to take initiative, to be proactive. These are the key characteristics of leaders. They are proactive. They take initiative. They hustle. They constantly take action. They constantly make new offers in the marketplace, make new offers to other people, ask questions, and so on. They are active. They are not passive or languid or languorous.
Right. Okay, I got that. Okay, cool. So, Chris, let's say you meet up with a fresh graduate, all right, who is, really eager and raring to get started working, but is also concerned about what the future holds for him, and you had only enough time to tell that person one thing about how to achieve success. What would be that one thing that you would tell that person?
What I would say to them, Alex, is that failure has a stigma it does not deserve. Failure is an unpleasant, but it's an essential part of striving and learning. It is unpleasant. No one likes to fail, but it's an essential part of striving and learning. And I would say to them that failing does not mean you are a failure. Failing does not mean you are a failure. It means, in fact, that you are trying hard. You're taking risks. You're taking initiative. You're getting out of your comfort zone. And all those things are necessary precursors to success. So I would encourage people to fail, paradoxically, to fail more, because when you fail, it shows you're taking action. You're taking action, and you want to welcome failure. Failure is learn. You learn when you fail from something. You learn from it, and you move on. You pick yourself and move on. So I would welcome failure. Fail is the more you fail, the better you'll be. In fact, if you look at the lives of successful people, whether that's Gandhi, Teddy Roosevelt, or anybody, you'll find they had failures over and over again, and this eventually is what led them to be the great people that we now view them as.
Wow, fantastic. Okay, got that. Very interesting. Okay, Chris, so, authors who write nonfiction books, they sometimes go on a journey as they do so. Like, for example, you think one way about something, you do the book, and then you think another way about that same thing. Just as an example. Has working on this book done that for you? Have you gone on a journey yourself as you've written this book out?
I have, Alex, and the thing I've come to realize in writing this book is that professors and parents have a much bigger responsibility than I think I realized before for helping younger people. And I would encourage younger people to reach out to their parents and professors for help. So I think let's just talk about as me as a professor. We need to do more to help our students get going in life, thriving outside in the real world. It's not enough to teach them how to speak German. It's not enough to teach them how to make films. It's not enough to teach them how to do an accounting course.
Right.
It's not enough. It just is not enough. We need to do more to relate everything we teach them to the real world. And it's not that we want to make them totally focused on careers, because there's much more to life than just a career. Success in life is about feeling fulfilled, not just in your career, but in your private life, with your family, and the relationships you have. But we professors need to do a much more a better job of helping our students thrive as people once they leave college.
Right. Okay, cool, got that. So, Chris, is there anything else, like other stories or topics, that you may want to explore as an author in the future?
Yes, my next book is on what fathers can do to help their daughters thrive in school. It's being published by Rowman and Littlefield next year. And then after that, I'm writing a book on death and dying and aging.
Wow. Okay, that's a rather wide. Those are rather different topics.
They are. My career has been in wildlife filmmaking. I've written 2 books on wildlife filmmaking. And by the way, your viewers might be interested. Our latest film is a big IMAX film, a $15 million 3D IMAX film with Robert Redford called National Parks Adventure, and it's National Parks Adventure, and it's playing all over the world in IMAX theaters. And I hope your viewers can get to see it.
Nice, cool. Great. Definitely, I'll probably check that one out. So, Chris, before in this last few minutes of the interview, are there any last words of wisdom you'd like to share to inspire our listeners?
Yes, I would like to encourage people to write, as I mentioned briefly before, their personal mission statements. And I talk about how to do this in my book, Now What, Grad?
Okay.
It's very important, I think, for people to sit back and do something which they very rarely do, which is to think about the design of their lives. What type of life am I creating? Is it the type of life I really want to have? And thinking about those deep questions is very important. I'm offering a new class this fall, Alex, called Design Your Life for Success, to give students at American University, where I teach, a chance to ask those questions. What am I here for? Where am I going? When I'm 80 years old, what do I want to look back on as my accomplishments? What is my legacy going to be? What do I really want to do? Do I want to live a dull, mediocre life? Or do I want to live an incandescent, coruscating life? with wonderful relationships and accomplishments. And if so, how am I going to do that? So my last piece of advice to your listeners would be to spend time deeply thinking about your personal mission statement. And people can go to my website, chrispalmeronline.com, and see my personal mission statement if they want to see an example of one.
Right, cool, great, cool. So in closing then, the book is Now What, Grad? Your Path to Success After College. The author is our guest, Chris Palmer, and you can check out his book on his website, which is, as he mentioned, chrispalmeronline.com. Again, that's chrispalmeronline.com. So Chris, thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for being an Author Story. It's a real privilege to have you with us as our guest.
Thank you, Alex. The privilege was all mine. I was delighted to be with you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me on. I look forward to being back on another time. Thanks so much.
Right, you're welcome. You're welcome. Of course, for those of you listening, if you want to get Chris' book, Now What, Grad, you can get right now by going to the Amazon link in the description below the video. And if you'd like to follow our author interviews on YouTube, I invite you to subscribe to our channel. So bye for now, everyone. I'll be back on Author Story Weekly Interviews with another inspiring author.